saying? Oh, yeah, he already has the thing, the PowerPoint right there. This thing is right here. All I gotta do is hit it, you know, like the phone said, keep going to the right up to you see the arrow. And once the arrow's up there, then you can accept it and switch it. If you haven't already, do it for him. But, he also got. Audio quality won't suffer. Yeah, so you're gonna see. Yeah, that's what I thought. So maybe that's something like that. How about this?
I think I'll pull this one out. Yeah. Can you guys, are you okay with that? Yeah. Breakfast. 30 minutes. Kenny, this one's on? Oh, yeah. Okay. It's working. We're live. What's that?
Number 3, Kenny.
Oh, your glass. I know I can't wear my glasses with them. I haven't figured that out yet.
Number 3, Kenny.
Yeah. Oh. There's supposed to be some sort of trick, but
Number 1.
So I'm like, I'll just wear my contacts.
You got your ears on?
A little better.
You got your ears on? Nope.
Okay, number 1.
Had to do my name 3 times. You say not on file?
Kenny, number 7.
Yeah. Stuck up there. He's saying normal temperature.
I don't know how to type my temperature.
I know. It'll yell at you if you're not normal. Yeah. Okay. That's what I say every day. I'm like, sweet. Oh, normal again. You can sit there or here, wherever. Just random seats available.
Well, I'll wait for Sherry to get in here. All right. I'd like to bring the New Kent County Planning Commission meeting September 21st at 6:30 p.m. to order. We'll start off with a moment of silence and then stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Sherry, can you call roll, please?
Mr. Bennett,
Here.
Mr. Tiller,
Here.
Ms. Butler,
Here.
Mr. Moyer,
Here.
Ms. Thomas, Mr. LaRochelle,
Here.
Dr. Schmidt,
Here.
Ms. Townsend,
Here.
Mr. Davis,
Here.
Ms. Rose,
Here.
Ms. Pearson.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting on August 17th? And do we have any corrections or a motion to approve or comments or?
Madam Chair, I have one correction.
Yes, sir.
Under the Plan RVA report, the last line, it's editorial correction. It's IT apostrophe, ITS apostrophe, remove the apostrophe.
Okay. All right. Did you get that, Sherry? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
Madam Chairman, if there's no other corrections that need to be made other than the one, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented with the correction made.
Thank you, Patty. Sherry, can you call roll?
Yes, to accept the August 17th, 2020 minutes with the corrections noted. How say you, Mr. LaRochelle?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Abstain. I wasn't online.
Yes, Mr. Moyer?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Aye.
Ms. Thomas is not here. Ms. Townsend?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
Dr. Schmidt?
Abstain.
Ms. Rose?
Aye.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody signed up for the citizens' comment period?
I doubt it.
No? Okay, thanks. All right, do we have any presentations, Kelly or Sherry?
No, no, ma'am.
No presentations. Any unfinished business to talk about? Anyone? Nope. Okay, moving right along. I'm gonna hand this over to Katie for the public hearing.
Thank you.
Oh. Oh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we have one public hearing before us. It has been properly advertised for tonight's consideration. Let me take a moment to review the procedures that we will use for tonight's hearing. Each public hearing will be considered separately. Staff will give a brief overview of the hearing that is before us. The sponsor of the case will be given an opportunity to make a presentation. Commissioners will be given an opportunity to ask questions of the sponsors or staff for clarification purposes. I will then open the citizens' comment portion of the public hearing and receive any comments. Sign-up sheets are located on the desk at the front door, and I ask the following: that you come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, address your comments to the commission, limit your comments to 3 minutes. When the timer sounds, please conclude your remarks. Please note that the commission members will not answer your questions during the citizens' comment period, but will certainly take those questions and comments into consideration during the deliberation period of the public hearing. And I will now open the application for ZM-02-20 Dispatch Station Proffer Amendment Request.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Just going to give an overview of the application before you. FW Associates, LLC, and John Sherm, manager of Dispatch Station Development, LLC, have requested to amend the proffer statement associated with the dispatch station property rezoning. The applicants request that current proffer number 7 be amended to state, quote, "There shall be no more than 50 building permits issued per year." The current proffer allows for 25 building permits per year. The rezoning for Dispatch Station was approved on July 8th, 1996 as Zoning Map Amendment C-8-95. The approval letter and minutes from the Board of Supervisors meeting, where the proffers were finalized and adopted, are included in your packet. The Dispatch Station subdivision is located in the northwest portion of New Kent County in an area designated suburban housing in the comprehensive plan. It is bordered by several other R1 zoned subdivisions and the Norfolk Southern Railroad line to the south. A little bit about the project history. The Planning Commission considered this rezoning application in March of 1996 and voted to send an unfavorable recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The minutes from that meeting are included in your packet and discuss concerns about the impact of the project on the environmental features, public services, and the capital needs of the county. The Board of Supervisors ultimately approved the rezoning with proffers, limiting annual building permits to 25, a maximum of 150 lots in the development, and some cash proffers, among other things. The complete list of proffers can be found in your staff memo. The project essentially lied dormant until late 2005 when the Planning Commission approved the Dispatch Station Preliminary Subdivision Plan. Another 14 years would pass before the first section was recorded and construction started. Section 1 includes 58 lots, and Section 2, which is currently under review, contains 64 lots. Regarding public utilities, the development will connect to and use the county's water supply facilities. Mr. Dame had no concerns with the proffer amendment. Regarding impacts on the Sheriff's Office, staff received a comment from Chief Deputy Bailey that raises concerns about impacts to their office from development and pointed out that their office is not included in the cash proffer distribution. Regarding impacts on the school system, the application states that there will be a minimal impact based on the demographic profile of the home buyers from Phase 1. Staff has no way of verifying this, but also will point out that there is a proffer allocation of $2,000 per unit that goes to the school system. Regarding impacts on transportation, the existing proffer statement allocates $750 per lot for off-site road improvements to Dispatch Road. Improvements were made a few years ago around the area of the railroad crossing to help with safety and sight distance concerns. While reviewing the minutes from when this rezoning was considered by the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, concern was expressed about the impact on public services and the capital needs of the county. This is why the applicant at the time proffered a maximum of 150 lots in the development and set a cap of 25 building permits to be issued per year. Doubling the number of allowable building permits per year to 50 will speed up the growth and have potentially negative impacts on the local transportation system and other county services. The capital needs of the county have only continued to increase over the years, as New Kent has remained the second fastest growing county in Virginia since at least 2010. Keeping the cap at 25 building permits per year instead of doubling it to 50 will allow the county to better absorb and plan for the impacts of the residential growth on county services. Given the proffer that sets the maximum amount of building lots at 150 at a rate of 25 per year, the development could have been built out within 6 years, and the case has been approved since 1996. It is staff's recommendation that the proffer amendment be sent to the Board of Supervisors with an unfavorable recommendation and that the existing proffer number 7 remain as is. There are 2 draft motions at the end of the staff memo. Please remember that if you forward an unfavorable recommendation to the board, to give reasons that we can add to their staff memo into the record. This concludes my staff presentation. Mr. Rob Benasha is here on behalf of the applicant and has some slides to go over with. I'll be here to answer any questions. All right, let's see if I can figure this out. All right. Sure. All right, Kenny, where's my arrow? We lost the arrow. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you should be good to go.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Rob Benasha, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I've been able to speak to a few of you in the last few days about this development, and I think that we got a good preview of what the request is and what we're seeking. I think it's helpful to think about, to think about this case in the context of its initial approval by the Board of Supervisors back in 1996. At that time, as mentioned, it provided for only 150 lots and imposed the annual limit of 25 building permits, which would have contemplated a full build-out by 2002. At the time, in order to approve this, the board required certain proffers so that those impacts by 2002 would be compensated for in the form of $3,000 per unit cash proffers. 25 building permit limit was intended to limit the ability to build it out until 2002. We're now 18 years past that point. And those cash proffers provided $2,000 per unit for the schools, together with $750 per unit for dispatch road improvements, and $250 for fire and rescue capital improvements. 18 years on is where we are now. We've had 25 building permits issued this year, or approximately, or about to have the 25th. There are approximately 75 lots remaining to be developed. And we have a staff report that cited no specific infrastructure overburdened by development and stated that the dispatch road improvements, which were proffered for before, were already completed. So far, $225,000 of cash proffers would have been paid. $150,000 of that would go to schools and $56,000 for dispatch road improvements, which improvements, I note again, have been completed. So our request today is simply to increase the limit from 25 to 50. Those cash proffers would remain in place. We're not seeking any relief on the cash proffers at all. The build-out period, the resulting build-out period, would now be reduced from the next 3 years to 18 months. So we're talking about a difference of 18 months. We're also seeking just to be treated the same as other developments in New Kent, which have cumulative limits. The mechanism of limiting building permits, or in the case of other developments, certificates of occupancy, is a good means of controlling growth. But in other contexts, in other developments, they're cumulative, where, for example, if they have an 80 CO limit, if they only do 60 in a year, they could do 100 the next. We're not seeking to be cumulative here. If we were, then we would be looking for 75 all at once. But we're not. We're only seeking to go to 50 because that's what the market's demanding. And we're just looking to meet market demand. Approving this would result in an additional $225,000 of cash proffers within the next 18 months, of which $150,000 would go to the schools. And I would presume that a good chunk of that, if not most of it, would go towards alleviating some of the financial burden caused by the new elementary school, which will also be able to absorb more students. $56,000 of that could go towards other improvements on Dispatch Road. It's earmarked for Dispatch Road in the existing proffers. We understand that the current improvements that were planned back at the time of the initial case have been completed, but if any other improvements were to be contemplated towards Dispatch Road, those funds would be available for that. In addition, these houses are selling at an average price of about $365,000. That would result in an increase in the tax base of about $27 million, a little bit over that, and a corresponding increase in annual tax revenue of $215,000. Now, I screwed up a little bit, and I sent Kelly my slides. I forgot to include my final slide. So I'd like to approach and hand these out, which is a little bit weird in the age of COVID, so I don't know how we want to handle that, but if anybody would prefer not to receive the handout, just let me know. As you'll see on that slide, we've done some market research of what, sorry, I should probably be speaking into the mic for the recording. But as you can see from the slide, we've done some market research that involves looking at the sales so far and the demographics in the dispatch station development so far, and projecting that with respect to the second batch of 75 houses. So As mentioned before, it's not an even split of 75-75 between the sections, so we've sort of kind of equalized that because that's where we are in terms of the building permit. So even though it says section 1, section 2, it's not precisely aligned to the sections, but the point of it is that we estimate 0.133 school-age children will be coming in the second half to match the first, which at an aggressively geared towards elementary school breakdown shown in there, that would result in 6 elementary age kids. So we're not projecting a massive increase in burden on the county. We're looking at about, we estimate, single digits. And that's really the choice before you today. 6 children with $225,000 of cash proffers front-loaded towards 18 months versus 3 years. I mean, these building permits will be issued over the next 3 years. It's the same number of children. The question is 18 months versus 3 years, and having the cash proffers delivered to the county sooner rather than later. I don't have anything else to present to you, so if you have any questions for me, please let me know. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Well, if there are no questions, I'll go ahead with the citizens' comment portion, and I think Kelly is checking.
No one.
Okay. All right. Then, at this point, I will close the public hearing. Application ZM-02-20, Dispatch Station Proffer Amendment Request. And turn it back over to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Does anybody have any comments or questions for Kelly or for the applicant?
Yes.
Okay, Patty?
Kelly, do you have a traffic report or traffic study on dispatch in 249?
Traffic study? Oh, I gotta look over at Rodney. I don't think so.
Not a recent one.
Yeah.
There have been several traffic studies that have been done at dispatch 249 at the request of the county. Well, let me take that back.
Do you want to come up here?
Let me change that statement. There's been several traffic light warrant analysis performed at the intersection of 249 and Dispatch Road. Over the past several years, we've requested, over the past 5 or 6 years, that have been performed at the request of the county. Those studies have come back that the warrants are not met yet for a signal light.
Okay.
Thanks, Patty. Anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
Kelly, as I read the text from the staff, 150 lots were deemed appropriate for this development. One lot was, I'll call it the super lot, which would compromise a fairly large section of the development's property. That left for section 1 and 2, 149 lots. With the current development section 1 and the current development section 2 planned for, that's 122 lots, leaving 24 lots out there in nowhere land.
Right.
Where is the 24 lots, if any?
We haven't seen any plans for a section 3. These are Mr. Sherm's representatives, if you want to address that. They ran out of room.
Okay. Okay. So the max total will be 123 or 122 lots?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
That's total, right? 120?
We believe it's 126. So
126
so
lots total.
we don't have any contemplated plans at this time to do the full allotted number of lots. So in fact, I guess that would actually reduce the projected burden.
Ms. Chairman?
Yes.
Kelly, if I could ask you, the improvement money that would go towards Dispatch Road, what would that actually detail? Is it just the entrance of the development?
It's not specified in the proffer statement what exactly it is to be used for, so I think that's kind of open for discussion. The improvements that were made, I know they did some extra widening around the railroad crossing. This was like in 2015, I believe, to make the sight distance better and the safety.
Just have some concerns, since it was approved back a little ways.
Right.
There's been a lot of changes there that, of course, y'all know my favorite corner now is Dispatch and 249. So I think that needs to be taken into consideration.
Again, Madam Chair, for Kelly, in recent past history, I'm going to take this down so everybody can hear me a little bit better. In the recent past history, what categories were used to identify cash proffers? I mean, we've got schools listed for this subdivision. We've got the Dispatch Road or road improvements and EMS. But were there any other categories in recent history that were used to identify cash proffer allocations?
For other developments?
Correct.
It's basically has to meet the CIP and be in conformance with the comp plan. So you see a lot of transportation improvements, impacts to schools, fire and rescue, sheriff's office. We've seen amenities be proffered. We've seen phasing plans be proffered. Those are the basic categories that we've seen. I can tell you that a residential rezoning really hasn't been approved for quite a number of years. The ones we've been dealing with are amendments to existing, mostly the PUDs.
In those other residential rezonings where it was the proffers key to the value of money or price indexing increases throughout the years that the development was going on?
Yes. Yep. The other PUDs that we have now are adjusted every year as far as proffer amounts.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Chairman? Yes. The proposed new school, is that already almost to capacity when we get that in place?
Can I ask you to answer that? Rodney's the expert on the school.
No, I don't believe that will be the case. The new school that we're building to a capacity of 750 students. I believe the other two schools right now can accommodate comfortably they're accommodating a little over 800 students. Now, the ideal capacity would be no more than 750 students for those the two existing elementary schools too. So we will have additional capacity once the new school is constructed.
And will that school just be for that sort of district or that end of the county?
The schools right now are working on a redistricting plan. They're actually drawing the school district lines to determine who will go to that school. That document hasn't been finalized yet.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Rodney, can I follow up? What about the middle school and high school?
Sure. The middle school, we're watching that. I don't recall right offhand the capacity that it's built for right now. But I do anticipate probably in the next 5 years we'll be looking at the need to construct a new middle school. 2 years ago, or maybe 3 now, we did do a small expansion of the middle school to add, I believe, 6 more classrooms. There's also was a plan that the school is working on to convert some other space within the existing school into classroom too. But capacity is becoming an issue at the middle school. In the high school, I believe we're in good shape there. I believe that school was built for 1,700 students, and we're at I believe just over 1,000 students at the high school right now. Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Moyer? No? Kelly, are there any other restrictions like this on any other?
Say that again?
Are there any other restrictions like this out there?
I did do some research on that. As far as capping building permits, Rob kind of got into that. The newer rezonings are a cumulative effect where if they don't use what they have in one year, they can build it out to the next year. But the thing we're seeing now in the more modern rezonings and PUDs are caps on, you do a certain amount of this, you have to do this. So like the commercial, for the farms in New Kent, for example, you hit a certain number of building permits and you have to do some commercial. You hit a certain number of building permits and you need to do some amenities. So that's how we're seeing the more modern, not modern, but the more recent rezonings, the PUDs.
Right.
But they all do, I did look back, and they do have a cap at maximum number of allowable lots, like Patriots Landing with 640, and the Farms in New Kent has caps. Rock Creek Villas had a cap, that was a PUD, for examples.
And proffers are strictly voluntary now, right?
Right.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Can you put your mic on, sir? Thank you.
So did you,
Oh, of course, ma'am.
yes, sir. When we questioned you about the total number of lots, Mr. Bennett asked a question. You said you foresee a total of 126 lots now?
That's accurate.
So we're down from 150?
Correct.
To a max of 126.
Mhm.
Can you bring up this, Kelly, do you have this, can you put this up on the screen, this drawing? You don't have that?
We can turn to it.
We might be able to pull it up.
What
Well,
page is it?
I'm looking at the map.
From the staff report.
So the large blue area here will not be developed?
No, that's.
Well, that is one, that's a super lot that John talked about?
No, that's the section 2 that needs to be platted.
Yeah, that's what's in our office now for review. That's section 2 where the 64 lots are proposed.
So this was section 1 here, right?
No, that's actually from the original zoning case. Yeah, that's a different subdivision. I just thought I'd put that in there for some historical context back from the original case. And because we had it in the file and I thought it was kind of cool.
Completely matches the layout here for some of these streets.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Woods,
So-
Orapax and Woods Edge, that's been around for a while.
So this would fill out, you would complete the build out in this area then, in that subdivision?
Yes, so we'll have 122 total. Everything else is maxed out. It's floodplain or RPA or various forms of land that we just can't use.
So it's 122 or 126?
122, we just calculated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the total count for the entire subdivision, is 122 total lots.
So if you had built that out as of today, that would be 5 lots per year. Just saying. I mean, if you had, that's 24 years ago. So, 1996. That's when it was approved, wasn't it?
It's a different company.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Are we open for opinions?
Yes.
Okay. As y'all know, the Quentin area is really starting to sort of bother me right at the moment. And I think we've got a increase of subdivisions showing up that's faster than what we anticipated. And some of our approvals of lot sizes, lots to be developed, we really should have years ago said if it wasn't done within X period of time, they should expire and then they should come back. But from 1996 to today, this is a whole different picture now. We're looking at different situations and we're looking at roads which have not been developed to speeds to carry all of these cars on the road. My problem is I just think we need to kind of keep a cap here where we need to slow it down a little bit. I don't know that I could encourage it to be increased. I think it would have to remain as the same.
At 25, you mean?
But I'd like to hear somebody else's opinion if they feel that they got something different that they would like to say.
In my opinion, I agree with Patty. Going up and down dispatch, I can say that the traffic is heavy. Let there be an accident on 64 and Waze immediately reroutes everyone to dispatch to get to 295 and get around that. So it is a lot of traffic. You've got the elementary school. We've got the concerns at 249 and dispatch. I would want to keep it at 25. I can't see increasing it. The impacts to the county are too great.
How is the question of traffic and Dispatch Road, New Kent Highway addressed to possible purchasers? If they ask a question about transportation traffic, what do you say?
What types of questions would they ask?
I'm sorry. The problem is not just Dispatch and New Kent, it's also Dispatch and Quaker. And Quaker will be the back entrance of the New Kent Elementary School, whatever it's called. And if 56,000, I don't know if that'll take care of fixing that area, if that's where it would go. It's just, I think, as Patty's mentioned, there's been numerous accidents at that road, and that would be a concern of mine if I lived in that area. So I was just wondering, if I guess no one's brought up traffic problems that.
I've not had anybody bring it up. A lot of the residents that are moving there are either from New Kent County already, or they're from Mechanicsville, just over the line in Hanover County. So I haven't had anybody or heard of anyone expressing concerns about traffic.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chairman, the money that was allotted, the 56,000, where does that go? Would that go into like a capital improvement fund, or does that get marked into something that pertains to this subdivision?
That money is marked as a proffer. We keep record and keep track of all proffers we receive throughout the county. We do utilize those proffer funds in our capital improvements plan, but we do break that out.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Oh, Mr. Bennett?
I congratulate the applicant's success at dispatch station. I have two reservations. Number one, whether you were the original applicant or you bought into the deal, we have a contract right now at 25 units per year that is sold and occupied, plus the allocation of proffers based upon those number of units that are sold. With this application, I think we're trying to strike another deal. Yet the deal would increase the number of units per year that would be brought forth for being sold or occupied, but I don't see any increases in the value of the money that would be allocated. We're talking about $1996 versus $2020. $1996 went so far, but $1996 will not go very far in 2020. So I think we need a structure that we stay at the current deal unless the deal is fully revamped with additional considerations to the proffers.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Patty, more? Sure. Unless anybody else has anything else.
Mr. Chairman, move forward application ZM0220 to the Lincoln County Board of Supervisors with an unfavorable recommendation for the following reasons. One is the impact of on traffic and population.
Did you have your mic on? Kenny, did you hear that, Kenny?
Kenny,
No.
would you like me to do it again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Gee. I move forward application ZM0220 to the Lincoln County Board of Supervisors with an unfavorable recommendation for the following reasons, based on the increase of the traffic and the population at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Townsend. Sherry, can you call roll?
How say you, Dr. Schmidt?
Aye.
Mr. Bennett?
Aye.
Ms. Thomas?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Ms. Rose? Aye. Mr. La Rochelle?
Aye.
Ms. Butler?
Aye.
Mr. Moyer?
Aye.
Ms. Townsend?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Abstain.
Ms. Pearson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to new business. Does anybody have any new business? Kelly?
There's no new business, ma'am.
No new business, okay. I don't have a chairman's report. Just everybody, please stay safe and vote in November. Or earlier, yes, or earlier. Because I'm working the polls, and I'd rather that you vote early, actually. So, Mr. Moyer, do you have Plan RVA reports?
Yes, I do, Madam Chairman. The Plan RVA has still been virtual, so we have 30 people on the line. We took 5 roll call votes. All were on procedures as the agenda item, minutes, and one was on vacation time for the staff. That took well over an hour, just going through those. But the one good news we found out that day that JetBlue has announced that they have nonstops from Richmond to Las Vegas and Los Angeles now, starting in, I believe, in the beginning of the year.
Wow.
So that's it for that. And I'll mention that both of the agricultural and timber were approved by the full board, by the board of supervisors at their meeting that we discussed last time. Yeah, the FD. So I also have something on the strategic planning committee. I'm also on the strategic planning committee, the steering committee, and what went over, what we talked about a lot this time was the logos. If we go back to, could you go back to the first slide? Please, Kenny. Yeah, showing the logos.
Can you bring it up, Kenny?
Can you bring it up, Kenny?
I think it's on the very first slide, right?
Just the first slide. Yeah, like on our planning, like our comprehensive plan.
Or on the top of our
Yeah,
page.
good.
Okay. No. Well, those are the 4. The one thing about it, I know Ronnie was at times with this. I gather the people that made these 4 did a lot of really good work, so much so that the company we're using thought they did a really good work too. But they basically made them a little more 3D-ish, and they kept the colors, but they put a line that went through all of them to make them seem like they're connected. And the other thing with the logos is each area of the county will have maybe a couple logos. Maybe New Kent Courthouse here will have a logo of a courthouse. That'll be in the same type of motif. Maybe Lenexa might have the water and maybe arts or something like that. That's one of the things they worked on a lot. They also went through a vision and mission statement that was quite lengthy that I'm sure they're going to narrow it down a little bit. And I don't know if it's really for public announcement on that. Anyway, I don't think they'd want it to because it was so long. But, what they're trying to do is match each area with these logos. And so when something's brought up on a website, you distinctly know what's in those areas that can be looked at. So that's about it. We have a meeting on Wednesday for the steering committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Are there any other commissioners' reports? Patty?
Yes, I just want to make sure this doesn't fall on deaf ear. I still have major concerns of dispatch in 249. I'd be interested to hear a traffic study. It's got to be something different because the traffic is definitely picking up, and especially when there's accidents on 64, the traffic has been absolutely horrible, and it's actually getting horrible on Route 60 sometimes too. So I would like to make this concern, go to the Board of Supervisors and just tell them that, at some point in time, we've got to do something.
Okay. Sure.
Actually, we haven't too long got the results back from a traffic light analysis for Marketplace Drive on Route 60, and the results from that study came back that the warrants were met for a traffic light. What VDOT now is doing is they're expanding their study to do a corridor study of the entire corridor to come up with a complete plan to calm traffic on Route 60 and Bottoms Bridge. But definitely we anticipate a traffic light being part of the solution at Marketplace Drive there.
So that study would not include the one that's on 249?
That's a separate study from the studies the last study they performed at Dispatch Road and New Kent Highway that specifically looked at the Route 60 corridor.
Yes, sir.
I know the last time we requested for the traffic study there at Marketplace, we actually changed the wording to a traffic light analysis study.
Yes.
I wonder if that would make a difference if we changed the wording at Dispatch Road and 249, because all we've done in the past is asked for traffic counts. And it was like the last time when we changed the wording, they approved it.
We can we can change the wording, but I believe during the last time they specifically looked at whether the warrants were met for traffic signal at Dispatch and New Kent Highway. Now we do have another study going on right now that's a little further up near the daycare on New Kent Highway. We haven't gotten the results from that yet. Hopefully the results from that may help us with our justification for Dispatch and New Kent Highway.
From the daycare.
The home daycare?
Is that would be?
I'm sorry, I can't think of it.
Not stay and play.
No, not stay and play.
But the other one.
The other one that's operated by the Terrys.
Kids are?
Yeah, on the left side. If you're coming
Source.
this way. Yeah. It's got the Whole Family Donuts sign in the.
Oh.
I apologize, I can't. It's across from Brockwell. Yes.
It's a house.
Okay.
On the left-hand side, coming this way.
Rodney?
Yeah.
I know they look for certain criteria to warrant a traffic signal. When they're doing the traffic counts, do they truly get an accurate representation of all situations? Because if they pick a couple days in the middle of the week and do the traffic counts, you're never going to hit the mark.
Right.
But if they do a worst case analysis picking samplings of days on the weekends.
Summertime.
Yes,
Well-
summertime. I know it's hard to.
You know, that's been a big gripe with mine with VDOT is the timing of when they do these counts. I mean, just this spring, I mean, they collected countywide counts. It goes into their annual numbers, but it was right around the pandemic time when everybody was out of work and at home. And the response that I got from VDOT was, that's what their contract called for and they couldn't change it. So that is a concern when these numbers are collected.
Thank you, Rodney. Any other commissioner reports? Joe?
Proud to say I've been certified.
All right. Yay.
I may be dangerous now.
You get a raise.
Yeah, you get a raise. Good.
Anybody else before Kelly does a staff report? All right, Kelly.
I was just gonna say that we haven't gotten anything new in, so more than likely October will be canceled unless y'all want to meet
Okay.
either here or over the phone for something. I was anticipating maybe some public coming tonight, which is why we opted to have a in-person meeting, but I guess
Right.
nobody came.
Yeah. Which
Let me
means,
know if you want anything on October, otherwise we might cancel it.
which means you really need to go vote because we won't see each other
That's
before.
right.
So
Very
I
good.
seriously do encourage everybody to go vote early. Huh? No, not in Often. September 18th, I think it started in person over there, so anytime now. So I don't think we'll have a meeting next time unless Kelly lets us know. Do I have a motion to adjourn? We don't need to call roll for that, do we? All right. Thank y'all.
Pretty painless. Thank you, Rodney.
Oh,
I seem to save my butt
do
like
that.
every meeting. I'm like, I don't know the answer to that. Thanks, man. Yeah.
I think we'll be ready to do a presentation of the CIP.
Okay.
And come back in December.
For the hearing. Excellent. We're definitely going to cancel October then.
Okay.
You're going to want to do that in person, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.